Guys, Marsingin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to take a look at the new support memory that has just been upgraded on Global. There's a reason why I wanted to show this off. I feel like this is probably one of the best support memories now to use in the Dismal Future Red Zone, right? So bonds forged in the past. This is of course after the Cell games. You can see they're wearing the black armbands because Goku is dead after the teleporting Cell away and blowing himself up. This support memory before the boost was only giving a buff to Vegeta family units, whereas now we get Vegeta family or bond of parent and child, 1 key and 20% attack and defense for 3 turns. Now, when you think about the Dismal Future Red Zone and how that changed up the meta a little bit, the main thing is the fact that these fights are now fairly short and are very hard right from the start. So obviously beforehand, being only a Vegeta family buff, this is a team that has needed bigger buffs for quite some time. You know, not long ago on Global, we got the final stage for the Red Zone that allowed us to actually get the permanent Vegeta family buff, the Bulla is Born one. But I showed off the best version of that team that was available at that time, and it really wasn't that good in comparison, right? And especially for the current meta. But now we add into the mix Bond of Parent and Child, which is arguably one of the best categories in the game, right? So you take a look at the team that we're running here for this. We're running double Vegeta and Trunks leads, because whilst they are Vegeta family, they are, of course, the Bond of Parent and Child category leader. And then we have units like Future Gohan, the GT Duo, the Buu Duo, God Goku. None of these characters would have been getting buffed from this support memory before, and now they are. So, I mean, you can see things like, for example, the GT Duo, start of the first turn, they've already got 317k defense, thanks to the buff from this support memory. So we should see some pretty big numbers. I mean, honestly, it's just one of those things, right? It's a support memory, we use it, we get some buffs. There's not really a huge amount to talk about in the video. I'll go over the missions that you had to do and everything to actually beat the stage and get the support memory unlocked. But all in all, it was a, you know, it's a pretty straightforward thing. Do the missions, get the support memory unlocked, and then take it into the event and try it out yourself. So we are just going to do a couple of runs here. But I think the relevance, like I said at the start, is just how important the buff will be in this Dismal Future Red Zone stage, right? Because if you're bringing a team, remember that Bond of Parent and Child applies to so many characters across the game that you essentially will be able to use this support memory for a whole bunch of teams, and it's going to affect majority of the characters on that team. Like, I'm running a Bond of Parent and Child team for the purposes of this video, but obviously, as in with like the Trunks and Vegeta leads, they have Gohan up to 7.2 on turn 1 with no support outside of the support memory. Like, I could easily have run one of the various other, like, you know, Super Saiyans. I know the new 200% lead isn't on there because of the Vegeta placement in the timeline, but teams like Super Saiyan, Goku family, Hybrid Saiyan, superheroes, like with Beast Gohan, Pan, stuff like that. There are so many characters on these teams that will be getting the support memory buff. And 20% attack and defense and 1 key for 3 turns is definitely pretty good. Now, obviously, you could argue that on a good turn, like, this team could probably do that anyway, but if we get good RNG with the GT Duo here, which we unfortunately could have got a little bit better, but pretty much 1 turn this Zamasu. So bear in mind, the support memory ability is still active. Like, we are still getting the buff from the support memory at this point here. So we can heal up, grab the orbs for you, and then we are going to finish off Zamasu and just jump straight into the next phase. And we still have the support memory active. So this is what I'm saying. Like, if you're somebody who, if you still struggle a little bit with these later Dismal Red Zone stages, or even if you've done them, but, you know, in the future they're going to start adding category missions at some point, right? You know, we've had a couple of missions added already since the dawn of this event, but when we start getting things drop where it's like beat, you know, Dismal Future stage where, you know, 5 Fusion Zamasu with X amount of, you know, X amount of, however they word it, right? It's like 6 characters on the insert category here, and it's one of those categories where you would be able to build a team that is largely made up of Bond of Parent and Child characters. Then obviously support memories like this are going to come in super useful. So we'll go ahead and do this. We couldn't get the guard for God Goku, which could be unfortunate here, but yeah, getting this huge buff right off the start. I mean, it's the attack and defense as well. So even units like Vegeta and Trunks, who are very strong defensively to start off with, and build up as they go, hitting pretty solid attack numbers here. It'll be interesting to see just how far we get through the overall health of these guys by the time we get to turn 4, because obviously that is when the support memory stops taking effect. So every turn that we've played so far, we've been getting that extra buff. And 20% attack and defense is definitely not something to turn your nose at. Plus the +1 key as well, useful for these teams that are full of LRs. And some of them, of course, do link together very well, or they get extra key from picking up orbs or from their passive or anything like that. But having that extra 1 key is, you know, it could be no key, but having that extra 1 key, definitely a little bit useful as well. So I think overall this is definitely one of these better support memories, because even the permanent buff, right, like if say you were running a team, whether it was Super Saiyans or something like that, that is fully made up of Goku family characters, you could use the Goku family permanent support buff, but you don't get as much of a buff, nor do you get the key. So of course the much bigger buff, even though it's only for 3 turns, we are able to do a significant amount of damage overall here. Just to the event, not just in terms of how much damage we did in 1 turn, just the fact that we are, what? I mean, depending on if Goku gets additionals, because we didn't get 6 orbs. Yeah, so we'll have basically taken off half their HP. So in the first 3 turns, with the buff from the support memory, we've done the entire first phase and half the HP of the second phase, right? Oof. Yeah, him not getting that dodge is pretty awkward. Oh, this is going to be a fun way to end this, though. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do this. And then we get our support and all our extra key here. So yeah, and there you go. We basically win the event now, because we are either going to kill with our units just straight out, or we're going to potentially just kill with the Spirit Bomb. I was going to say, as long as they don't super slot 1. Of course they did. Because even if Vegeta and Trunks don't die here, they get sealed, which is annoying. But then we die. But we don't, because we dropped the Spirit Bomb. Can we crit? They did get a couple of supers. No crit. Not crazy damage off the super attack, that's unfortunate. But now it's time for Gohan's domain. See, this is the thing, right? The support memory might not carry you all the way through to the end of the event, but it gives you this massive buff right at the beginning, which is obviously then what enables you to fight your way through to the end without having to worry so much about you know, the early turns being the ones where you get taken out. Because teams like this, with some of these characters that we're running, we need those like a turn or 2 to really get going. Especially, I think the biggest beneficiaries from this are units like the GT Duo and the Buu Duo, where it can be pretty scary for them on turn 1 or turn 3. And so having that extra buff from the support memory is really good. And as we already said, the support memory wouldn't have affected them if they didn't add in bond of parent and child on top of the Vegeta family, right? Because the unit is Goku and Vegeta. So I feel like that is a huge buff here. And this support memory going to be very useful, because I'm only using this as an example, the Dismal Future Red Zone. Like, you know, when, I mean, Omega's not a good example because he's one of those events where the early stages are a bit easier. But if we get more difficult content drop in the future, which is similar to the Dismal Future Red Zone in how it's so difficult, you waited right at the beginning, or even, I guess we haven't touched on, I mean, Super Battle Road has kind of gotten to the point these days where, because you can use so many items, it's not exactly the biggest challenge for most people. But obviously we can go ahead and use this in Super Battle Road, and the support memory goes off in every single fight. And so of course then that means we are getting the I mean, some fights in Super Battle Road don't usually last longer than 3 turns, so this buff would be active on every single turn of the fight in Super Battle Road. So considering just how many categories and how many teams will be able to take advantage of having this buff, now that it's bond of parent and child, as well as only Vegeta family, it's going to be very, very good for these difficult events. So I wanted to jump into Fusion Zamasu just real quick here, so we can take a look and see what we got going on turn 1. Of course, we don't get the guard, but he's int, so I guess it doesn't matter. So yeah, 317k defense turn 1 for the GT Duo is obviously very, very good. We can do this, and then that will let us do this. Get some decent key for you. So how much will they take from the AoE? because Zamasu does pretty decent damage with the AoE overall, but yeah, 259k. I mean, that is obviously still a lot, and when we take units like the GT Duo into Fusion Zamasu, we're ideally aiming for, of course, to use an item to keep them protected or something like that. Typical that that's how the video is going to end here, because I don't want to use up too many of these Fusion Zamasu attempts, because I'm also going to record the Transforming Vegeta versus Fusion Zamasu video today. So if I jump into another run here straight away, I'm only going to have 3 attempts left. But pretty unfortunate first turn. I guess we can jump into Goku Black very quickly here. But again, like, this could apply to a bunch of different teams, right? Like, this is a Super Saiyan team that I last used in this event. And all of these characters are on Bond of Parent and Child. Are you actually? Because of the timing with Vegeta, maybe you're not. No, you're not. But it doesn't matter because you're on Vegeta family. So every single character on this team gets the buff from the support memory. Every character on this team, the Heroes team is obviously a little bit different. We've got an Androids team. This is Trunks' team, and everyone on this team gets the buff from the support memory. Unfortunately, some of the older units on here don't. A bunch of Gokus, obviously, are all just on Bond of Parent and Child. Everyone on this team except Bulma gets the buff from the support memory. Everyone on this team gets the buff, right? Because by the time you get to Blue Vegeta, they're all Bond of Parent and Child, right? Yep. So everyone on this team gets the support memory. So I think you can see what I mean, right? All of these different teams, you can use this support memory and it's going to buff them for the 3 turns. So whilst, as you saw from that clip with the Fusion Zamasu, it's not going to mean you're suddenly just going to be able to jump in with the team and just no item the Fusion Zamasu stage immediately. But giving everybody that significant buff is going to be very, very helpful. And for 3 turns, in a lot of these phases, even against the Infusion Zamasu, in a lot of these phases, that 3 turns will at least carry you through the entire first phase, and then you'll at least be at the physical Fusion Zamasu, who, of course, while still hits like an absolute truck, isn't doing AoEs anymore. So I think overall, very, very good for this support memory. If we back out here, actually, I can show the event thing. I've completed all the missions, so obviously they will come up on the list as having been done. But it's basically just a case of beating the stage with specific teams. When it comes to the second stage to get the last ones, I know because obviously that's the one I just did before we started recording. You have to beat it in 7 turns, beat it with no items, and beat it with at least 3 youth characters on the team. But bear in mind, you don't have to do all of those in one go. Like, I did it with a youth team, full youth team, thinking that that would be fine. But because you are restricted to using certain free-to-play units, it took like 18 turns or something stupid, so then I just redid it with a Vegeta family team. So 7 turns, beating it with 3 youth characters on the team, beating stage 3 at least once, beat it without using any items, and then for the first stage, the Z-Hard one, you want to use 3 Android/Cell Saga characters, just beat it on Z-Hard, and then beat it only using super attacks, which, I mean, as long as you make a team that links together well, that'll obviously be nice and straightforward. And 3 worthy rivals. There's a bunch of Vegetas you can put on there. Super, super good. So there you go. Make sure you get the support memory farmed up. Let me know what you guys think of it down below in the comment section. I do absolutely think it is going to be one of the best support units if you do use them for these Dismal Future Red Zone stages to get that big buff early on. I guess the argument would be between something like this against ones that give you like a heal, which obviously would be very useful. But I mean, if you're using support memories, you obviously don't care about doing no item runs. So getting the buff, I think, for the early turns and then bringing items that can heal you, I think is probably better than some of the healing support memories that can go off on turns where you don't necessarily want the heal right then. So I think getting the strong start out of the gate with this support memory is very good for those stages. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.